I got to turn this thing off once it goes live, because there's an echo if you don't. Because I got to turn this thing off. Oh, see, got to listen to that. No thanks. Anyhow, come on in. Let me get the chat going. Hi, friends. All right, Alberta, Chattanooga, Kentucky, Atlanta. Hi, Julianne. Hi, Ray from Brooklyn, the Netherlands. How you doing? Hind from. All right, Oregon is in the house. Hi, you guys. Welcome, because I know I got early birds like me in the audience. I used to go live a lot earlier, but then you have to cut the whole thing apart. It's a whole thing. Hello, how you doing? Jersey's in the house. Hi, Marianne Duffy. I know you. How you doing? California. It's so fun. I kind of wish like we had jobs where we could actually just go live together every day for an hour. And this is the only thing I'm early for, said Elizabeth. That's funny. So you're chronically late for other things. Well, we won't start until it's time, because that is incorrect. But we can say hello. How you guys doing? Have you been learning stuff? Are you excited about boundaries? Are you lit up to become a boundary boss? I'm doing good, Natalie. Thanks for asking. Hi, Lindsay. Hey, Jenny. And Jennifer from Dayton. Hey, May. Elizabeth, very excited for scripts. They're so helpful. Absolutely. Yes. Hey, Emma. Hi, Lizette. Hello. So happy you guys are here. My house is being worked on. I've never done this before. And so it is so loud out there. I'm in the barn, thank God. Vic built me this temporary studio because he's skilled like that. But I'll be shocked if you don't hear something. Anyway, hi, Tanya said, I've read your book and inspired to join you here. Thanks for offering this. Sure. Hey, Anne. Hi from Belgium. Hold on, come back, Belgium. What are you saying? I look forward to today's learning. Absolutely. And another from Belgium. Happy to be here live. Listen to the previous 2 workshop recordings. And you guys understand why we recorded. A lot of times when you're sort of launching a course, which is what part of this is, you know, people are like, you have to come live. You know what? You can't make people come live because they may not be able to. So my whole thing is I really want you to get whatever it is I'm doing, whatever it is, it's going to give you something. I really want you to get it, as many people as possible, you know? Hey, North Carolina, how you doing? Hi, day 3. What's up, Alva? Hey, Emma. Yay. And we have Catherine from Horwich, UK, who said, where are you? I went fast. Loving, excited about the Palooza feeling. Right on. It's so fun that I just get to focus on this because obviously I'm writing a book, you know, I'm doing other things. So most of the time I don't just get to focus on what free content can I give you. Hi from Italy. Hello. Kansas City, Montpellier, France, Cleveland. Right. All right. Lisa from NJ. I'm so excited to hear. Now I see lots of other people are joining us here. If you just came in, we started a little early for the early birds, but we didn't really start. We're just shooting the shit. So come on in and say hello. Tell me where you're coming from. Got Toronto, got Germany, Baldwin City, Kansas. Kansas, is that where that is? I think so. All right. Michigan. Happy to be here. I'm happy you are here. Maine, Ohio, Alabama. Come on in. We got people from all over the world joining us today. So good evening to some of you. Good morning to some of you. Good lunchtime day to some of you. I'm really happy you're all here, though. This is super exciting. Please make sure that your thing is set to everyone. Your drop-down menu in the chat, make sure it's set to everyone. Most of you are doing it, but I see a few that say panelists. Whew. All right, I guess I should officially say hello to people, but I really should welcome us. This is day 3 of Boundary Palooza. So welcome to Boundary Palooza Live. This is workshop 3. Super exciting. Today, our topic are boundary scripts and self-care. Hello, Philadelphia is in the house. Canada, California. I'm super psyched that you guys are here and sharing where you're coming in from. We're going to start in like a minute or two so we can keep shouting out to where you're coming in from. Miami Beach, how you doing, Mariella? Happy to see the lack of boundaries is happening all over the world, not just me. Oh, yes. We have established years ago when I started teaching Boundary Boot Camp that this is a global phenomenon, my dear. This is all over the world. There's no culture that I've seen that women in particular say, oh, yeah, I learned how to do that from my friends, family, teachers, anything, you know. Hello, Susan from New York City. Oh, happy birthday. Katie said self-care perfect for my birthday. Right on, Bozeman, Montana. Beautiful. I love it out there. Would you come and teach to a nonprofit? I don't know. Reach out to my team. Hi, Jane from Toronto. How you doing? All right. Whew, any questions you guys have today? I want you to make sure that you put a couple of question marks in front of them like we've been doing so that Team TC can actually see them. Oh, I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm so appreciative that you guys are here. And I know it's not easy to show up live, but the fact that you are is great. Can you introduce Team TC? I can. It's Tracy and Joyce. They're my people. They're my right-hand people. Yes. Don't worry. In the course itself, we have a whole to-do about introducing the team. But actually, everyone should know because I definitely could not be doing this shit without them. There's Joyce saying hello. Like, fact. I would be being brilliant in my bathroom right now if it were not for Team TC, because it does take a village to create this. It sure does. So, as always, I'm super psyched and honored that you are here live with me, because you could be doing anything. But instead, you're here caring about your mental health and mental wellness. And, you know, people love to say, like, I just need to understand. I just need the information. I don't get it, you know? And then I offer a bunch of free things, and those same people don't show up or don't watch it. So I love that you are doing that. And for those of you that is 3 a.m. where you live, so you couldn't be on here live, or you're busy, or you're working, or you didn't want to be on live, I say props to you for watching the replay and actually watching it, like right on. I just want you to know, and I think you do know, I so appreciate you. You guys are my people. So what is Boundary Palooza? This is the 3 workshops over 3 days, as we're doing. Today is day 3, if you just are joining us. This is to raise your boundary intelligence, to increase the satisfaction in your life and in your relationships, improve your communication, all the things. And really, it helps you be more empowered overall, right? In session 1, we covered why boundaries, why now. We did 2 really powerful exercises, or maybe that was yesterday. What are you tolerating? Was that 1 or 2? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What are you tolerating? Relationship inventories, basically resentment inventories. And then yesterday we did emotional boundaries. Oh yeah, that was day 1, because yesterday we did emotional boundaries. The struggle is real. And we went over all of the different ways that disordered emotional boundaries show up in actual behavior in your life. So if you haven't seen them, please go watch them, because honestly, the content is really friggin' good, if I say so myself. Today, we're doing boundary scripts and self-care. Now, you guys can get the workbook. If you don't have it, we made a beautiful 26-page workbook for you that is fill-inable, if that's a word, and you can get that at terrycole.com/workbook, which is great. You can also go to, because I think this is where I say this, you can also go to terrycole.com/HQ for all the things. Yeah, such great content, Desiree said, thank you, sure. Well, anyway, you're doing something. So regardless of where you are in your boundary journey, your relationship journey, your communication journey, you should feel good about yourself, that you are here, that you want to learn and evolve and grow. Because here's the most exciting part of anything that I do, is that it is possible. that I can honestly say with a whole open heart that it is possible for you to change what's not working in your life, that it's about you, right? Why do I always focus on you? Yeah, other people, they're there too, but our empowerment comes from us changing. And I've mastered the art of how you can do it. That's what I teach. That's why I wrote a book. That's why I have the course. That's why I do all of this free content, is because I think that the thing that depresses me the most in life is having people feel like they're just screwed, having people feel like there's no hope, because there is hope. There's always hope. And that's what motivates me to do what I do. So today I'm going to be teaching like we've been doing, 35 to 40 minutes. Then I'll be taking Q&A. I'm also going to be sharing some about Boundary Bootcamp, the course itself, at the end, because that starts on the 24th, and I'm super psyched about it. If you have questions throughout, you're going to put a couple of question marks in front of it so that Team TC can grab it in the chat. Because as you know, we do a lot of interactive stuff, and there's a lot of stuff for them to go through to find your question. So officially, let me welcome you to session 2, Boundary Palooza, Boundary Scripts, and Self-Care. So let's do a quick grounding, and I will make it quick because I have a lot of content to cover today. So if you have something that smells delicious, please go get it. And you guys, these are small things. Like, and if you're not olfactory oriented, fine. But I am very much so, as a highly sensitive person. So the same way that smells that I don't like are super repulsive to me, smells that I do like are super seductive. Like, I just love it. It lifts my spirit. It lifts my mood. It actually does. This is like a chill one. What's it called? Stress release. But it just makes me happy. And these are small ways. Talk about self-care. These are small things that we can do on the daily that actually elevate our satisfaction. And it is self-care to give a crap about your own preferences. What makes you feel good? It shouldn't just be like on a super special occasion, right? What makes you feel good all the time? We're going to get to that later. All right, anyway. Sorry, my lips are dry. All right. I'm going to get my legs down. We're doing this. Take a deep breath. Gently close your eyes. I'm just going to ask you to drop your attention inward. We're going to do a quick grounding, because I don't know what you were doing before this or what you're doing after, but I really want to help you be here now. And one way that we do it is to ground ourselves in this present moment. So drop your attention inward, and I just want you to bring to mind, just we're observing what you're sitting on. Is it soft or hard, right? So just give yourself that answer. Can you bring to mind the walls in the room that you're in, or wherever you are, the surroundings? And can you sort of visualize what they are? Do you know where the windows are, where the door is, or where another chair is if you're inside? Just bring that up. Now I want you to focus on your nose, smell. What can you smell? Just identify it. Right now, because I just used my oil, that's what I smell. And now for a moment, I want you to dial into what you hear. Is there something close that you can hear? Some kind of a fan, some kind of a humming, some kind of your refrigerator running? Is there something far away? Like right now, far away, I can hear my geese. You guys can't, but far away, I can hear them making noise. And now I want you to dial into any taste that you may have in your mouth. Did you just drink coffee? Did you just eat food? Maybe you have gum in your mouth. We're just identifying. Now I want you to dial into the temperature in the room that you're in. Can you just identify? Is it cool? Is it warm? I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. And on the exhalation, roll your shoulders back. Actively and consciously Relax any part of your body that is tense. Just as we're breathing, and I want you to visualize that you're breathing in the infinite possibilities of your one-of-a-kind amazing life. And that you're exhaling any constriction, any fatigue, anything that no longer serves your greatest good. Visualize that it's leaving your body with your exhalation. Now let's take one collective deep breath. First, you're going to set your intention for today's session. You can have your own private intention. My intention will most likely be the same as it is most of the time, which is that something happens for you today. An aha moment, an epiphany, a realization that empowers you, that uplevels the joy in your life, and that helps you lessen your own suffering. Once you've set your intention, we're going to take a deep breath together on the count of 3, and you're going to exhale audibly with a sigh, simply because it friggin' feels good. 1, 2, 3. Ah. Phew. Right. Breathing. Welcome back. Gently open your eyes. Ooh, I don't know. Did anyone else really need that? Because I sure did. All right. So fast, right? It's so quick, but it feels so good. All right. So good for you. You're doing something for you today. You know, whether you feel like you're kind of approaching boundary mastery, or whether you feel like you're a total disaster, wherever you are, you're in exactly the right place to learn what you need to learn. So give yourself credit for being here, because, you know, we're all works in progress, you guys. There's no perfection. This is ongoing, right? It's just like being in recovery, like I'm in recovery from alcohol, is I feel like I'm in exactly WIP, in recovery, work in progress all the time. So let's get into some questions, kind of like we did yesterday, because I want to get you into the right place in your own mind. So the first question is this, and you're going to answer in the chat. When you know you need to set a limit, do you labor over the words that you're going to say, like really thinking about them? And then still, most of the time, they come out and you're like, that's still all wrong. Just, that's not what I meant. That's not actually what I meant. And then it feels too hard to like take it back or change it, or like, what do I do now? Yes, many of you. Yes, yes, yes. Rewrite it multiple times. Someone said, yes. So I totally get that. Anxiety makes us, yes, Tara said, then I freeze. Totally. Then you're like, okay, forget it. Abort, abort, abort. Like that's the feeling after that. And then I think we talked about this the other day, but this is so common. I wanted to bring it back because it's something that I really want you to think about for you. When you wait too long to draw a boundary, like, do you just let that resentment and anger sort of accumulate, the rage? It's small, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. So when it finally happens, you explode more like a volcano than like a volcano. Anybody? But usually it's after you've just waited too long. You just get to that tipping point where you're like, I can't even control, like I couldn't even stop myself. Right. Okay. So I see. Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes, and we were talking about this the other day, that can happen with people who make you very triggerable, or people for whatever reason that you're more sensitive to. And then the third question is, do you just avoid speaking up or talking true sort of altogether when you have a preference or a need or a limit that you want to set, because you just don't have the words and you're kind of like, I don't want to deal with the drama. Just sort of whatever, you talk yourself out of it by being like, who cares? It's not a big deal. Yeah, disappear and cut off, escape. Yeah, a lot of you are saying yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So we're going to say all three of them, many, many, many of you resonate with. Yes. And it's funny. So someone said it's easier to avoid. But again, In Jenny said trifecta. It's easier to avoid, but that's short-term thinking, right? Because it's not. And the thing is, Rachel, and we deal with this in the course itself. Rachel said, I hate conflict. Here's the thing. How many people here would say they dislike conflict? Who would say that? Fucking anybody normal is going to say that, right? Like, I don't, if you like conflict, you're either like a defense attorney, like there are some people, I guess, who do, but the people in my crew are mostly like me. And it's not like, who the hell likes conflict? Right? We want to get along. We want harmony. We want to be understood. We want to communicate. We're lovers. We want to help. We want, so what my whole point and what I talk about in the course with conflict is that we need to rearrange our relationship with conflict. We do a whole deep dive on anger in the course itself, because this is something that I grew up in a family system where anger was a forbidden emotion. And I wonder if any of you guys were in a house that like anger wasn't a thing. Usually people are like, my house was angry as fuck, or my house, nobody was allowed to be angry, or you couldn't express it. Yes. So, and here's the thing. Someone said I had anger all around. Eggshell family. Yeah. Hello. Same. I wasn't allowed to be angry, but everyone else was. It's funny. I wasn't allowed to be angry and no one else was, but everybody was angry. Like the funny thing, right? So it goes underground. So you're like, you don't even know how you're feeling, right? You end up turning it into something else. But that's something, the whole emotions of it all, like you become so much better equipped in your ability to set boundaries when you understand and then heal, change, honor, integrate what you experienced in childhood that makes it so friggin' threatening and scary, right? We're not going to go from this moment. We need to go back to go forward. And that's exactly what we do in Boundary Bootcamp, where it's a deep dive. I mean, it's a therapeutically designed. I won't say it's therapy, obviously, because it's online and it's a course with lots of people in it, but it certainly is therapeutically informed. Because I don't know how to tell you to go forward if we don't honor what got you where you are right now. We must do that. So super important to understand ourselves and to be able to identify ourselves. All of you who were saying me, when I was giving you the examples, this hopefully one of the biggest takeaways from this experience is that you are so not alone, that this is so common. It can be so easy to be like, oh, it's just me, but it's not. So let's talk a little bit about when you find yourself in a situation where you need to set a boundary. I'm going to give you some ideas, some thoughts, and these are in your workbook, you guys. So don't worry, right? If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can. So, because I want you to be here now, and I want you to start to maybe get these in your body a little bit and see how that feels. So one of the ones I use all the time, and actually I didn't really originate this. This is from the Nonviolent Communication, Marshall Rosenberg. I would like to make a simple request. So this is something that no matter what it is you're saying, and then you can add what the boundary preference or request is. I'd like to make a simple request that you be quiet. You be more quiet when you come into bed at night if I'm already sleeping, so that you don't wake me up. Like that, right? That is a simple request. Again, any request that you may have is simple. It doesn't mean the other person's going to do it. But when you think about it, it is simple. So these are sentence starters that I'm going to want you to start thinking about. I wanted to bring to your attention. That's another one. So then you would go on to say that last week in the meeting, when I was talking, I noticed that you were on your cell phone and I found it very distracting while I was trying to give my presentation. And then you can move into that, so I'd like to make a request that you don't do that, Someone said, oh, that's why it's a request and not a demand. Reasonable and simple, correct. That is correct. And even a deal breaker actually is not a demand, right? Because when we're talking about healthy boundaries, we're really not demanding. A deal breaker is you knowing your limit, right? So it's a non-negotiable for you, but it's not a demand because they can do whatever they want, right? They don't have to. You're basically saying, this is what I can and cannot live with. Let's just say I had a client whose partner they were both in recovery. He relapsed and it was taking a long time for him to get back on the wagon. And she finally had to have a deal breaker saying, if you don't actually get clean and do 90 meetings in 90 days, starting this Friday, I'm going to ask you to move out. Like, it's so triggering for me in my own recovery. So she wasn't demanding he do that. She was saying, this is my non-negotiable boundary. You can do it, or you can kind of not. But if you don't, then you will have to move out. So again, we're not talking about what the other person's doing. We're talking about, exactly, Jenny, these are our boundaries. They don't need to comply. Correct. Okay. I wanted to revisit what happened last summer, as I like to say, in the summer of 78. A lot of times people feel like they can't bring something up. They miss their moment. Like, do you ever feel like if you didn't say it in the moment, you can't bring it up because they're going to say, why didn't you bring it up in the moment? And you're like, but I'm bringing it up now. So I love this sentence. I wanted to revisit what happened last Wednesday. It's a super easy way to do it. And if the person says, why didn't you bring it up then? You can say, actually, I'm bringing it up now. I mean, and if it's someone you care about and you don't mind giving them context, you can give them context and say, I didn't realize it until after the fact how bothered I was by our interaction, but I don't want it to be between us. So I wanted to bring it up. Yeah, helpful, super simple, love it. Okay. When someone is asking you to do something, right? They want you to go to a concert. They want you to go out to dinner, whatever it is. We really want to, especially if you're someone who has a tendency to say yes right away, that we don't want to do that. We sort of want to get away from the insta or auto yes. So you're able to start with something nice, like, hey, thank you for thinking of me. I'll have to check my calendar. Thank you for thinking of me. I'll have to check with my partner. There's a lot of ways that we can not give an instant yes. I give myself 24 hours to make decisions. I have a 24-hour decision-making rule. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that you can say, but what you're really doing is buying time so that you give yourself permission to actually think about if you want to do it or not. For someone who is coming back at you, you actually are saying no, like it's a deal breaker for you. It's something that you don't want to do. And the person keeps coming back and trying to wear down your no. Have you ever had that experience? Anybody? Yeah. So, and I mean, obviously, if you have kids, you've all had that experience because you need to teach them that it won't work, or they will continue to do it forever and ever and always. And then it does work, right? Because you're like, forget it, I don't even care. So one thing you can say is, my answer is non-negotiable, please respect it. You can say, my answer is final. You can say, hey, I already gave you my answer and it's not changing, so please respect that. Yeah, sometimes it's ignored as if you said nothing. Oh yeah, that's correct. And the bottom line is, yes, Darla said no is a complete sentence. Correct. And the thing is, our boundary becomes, I'm not engaging in this round robin conversation anymore. So my answer is non-negotiable, blah, blah, blah. Another thing that you can do, especially if it's something that's past, is you can say, I want you to be aware of how I feel about our interaction the other night, right? Again, it's like I'm putting it on your radar. Yeah, Elizabeth said, my favorite from Boundary Boot Camp is, you've asked and I've answered. Yeah, that's actually really good. We should have that in. I mean, we have boundary scripts everywhere, obviously in the course itself, you guys. But that's a really good one. That is short and sweet, you know? You can also just say no thanks. But I use this in a particular way. So if someone's like, hey, do you want a donut? I say no thanks if I don't want a donut. But if I have my racist Uncle Mike saying some bullshit I don't want to hear, I also say no thanks. So I use no thanks in different ways. All right, moving on to another way of starting. Sentence starter is, I need to tell you that. You coming to my apartment, using my key without my knowledge, borrowing my clothes, doesn't work for me, right? Let's just say. So we put the whatever the boundary violation is or the boundary request. You can also just simply say no, right? And then if you're dealing sort of with conversational boundaries, and someone is interrupting you, you can say, hey, I would really appreciate it if you could let me finish my story before telling yours. I also like the physical aspect. People who are interrupters, do you have any of those in your life? Or maybe you're an interrupter. Why don't you say yes or me? My roommate says, right? Yes, yes, yes. Me. We've got yeses and me's. Okay, we're forming. Yes, and me. What's so funny is we could be an interrupter, but then other people interrupting is so friggin' annoying, right? You're like, oh. So I like to use physical cues as well, especially with conversation. So now I don't use a full hand. If someone is interrupting, I don't use a full hand. I use one finger to say, oh, hey, wait, Bob, can you wait 1 sec? Just let me finish my thought because I'm afraid I'll forget. Like a lot of times now that's softening it by saying, I'm afraid I'll forget. I'm not trying to embarrass or shame Bob. I want to finish what the hell I'm saying. And I want to do that in a way that doesn't, like, I'm not feeling super aggressive towards Bob, but I'm also not letting other people interrupt me when I'm talking. I can't stand it. I hate it. So I love the one finger supports rather than sabotaging. It actually supports what you're saying. And even if someone doesn't hear what you're saying, this tells them to stop talking, which is good. So hold on, someone said something. I like that approach, said Ariel. Yes, this is what's missing and makes texting so challenging with communication. It's so true. It's impossible to, that's why we use emojis so much, because usually when you're talking to someone, you can see what is going on. Oh, Raina said, in France, one finger is when we are asking a question in class. Oh my God, that's so funny. So maybe full hand in France. I have a friend who is a wait to talker and she regularly interrupts me. Oh my God, Banaz, you know, that wait to talker can't stand it. And sometimes, listen, I know that I can do that sometimes. And I know that even my husband will do that sometimes. And if I feel like he's wait to talking and I don't feel like he took in what I said, I'll say, babe, did you hear what I just said though? And I'll say, yeah, you said la la la. I was like, okay, before we move on, can we just stay here for one moment? I want to know what you think about that. Like in a healthy relationship, it's okay. Like we're going to do these things to each other sometimes. But where we need to put boundaries in place is when it's behavior that just keeps happening, you know? Yes. We have some moments, but with some, it's a pattern. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Hold on. I'm looking for your cues. What if you're on the phone with them and get interrupted often? Then you have to be more, you know, Claudia, then you have to be more assertive verbally, because that is the only means at your disposal, and say, can you hold up 1 sec? I really want to finish my story. I mean, if it's a friend, honestly, if it's someone I'm close to and they're interrupting, I would say, was my story boring? Like, and I don't mean it like, was I boring you? Like to be an a-hole. I really mean, are you not interested? Is something else going on? Because usually my friends are pretty good listeners. And if it's something that's happening, or if I notice they're distracted, I'll say, I talked to my friend Lara. I love her so much. She'll be talking to me. We're on friggin' Zoom. I can see her and she's texting something. And I'll always say to her, dude, we are done. We could totally be done right now. I love you. If you got to go, do not text and Zoom with me. Why? What are you actually doing that can't fucking wait until we're done? We're going to be on here for 20 minutes, you know? But with a good friend, I can say, or maybe you're a conversation monopolizer and you could check in with your combo partner. Yeah. I think that's a possibility. I'll wait until they're done and then say, hey, I noticed you interrupted me. Can we talk when you're ready to listen? Because I'd like to finish what I was saying. I would be a little less, Randy, I get what you're saying, but for me, I'd be a little less, that seems a little punitive and a little teeny bit judgy. I'd say more like, I really want to finish my story if you want to hear it, right? Because ready to listen sounds really like talking to a kid almost, you know what I mean? But I think checking in is okay as well, you know? Oh, got it. Someone just said, my ex and baby mama almost always responds with, well, you do that to me all the time. That's so unhelpful. So unhelpful. And that is someone who actually isn't looking for resolution. They just want to be right. It's like tit for tat, you know? It's a communication blocker too, you know? Okay. And the last one on that is no, you know, you could say if someone is like, how we do it this way, you could just simply say, no, that doesn't work for me. And so much of this has to do with, you guys, how you present it. If you present it really apologetically, they receive it like they should be pissed. They receive it like they, you know, and if you do it in, you know, if you do it in a way that you feel like you have a right to this. I did a whole blog on a thing like about how the tone of voice, the body language, how much that matters with how our boundaries and us asserting ourselves is received by others. Now we can't control them, but we can control us, you know? All right. So we're going to jump into, hold on, are we? All right. So quickly, I'm going to see if you guys, how this feels for you sort of in your body. So we're just going to do a quick exercise together. If you can do it out loud, that'd be great. We're going to just quickly practice some boundary scripts. So here's the thing. If you haven't done it a lot in your life, really talking true, sometimes when you start doing it, it can be emotional, right? You can be surprised and just feel like you want to start crying or freeze up in your throat. Have you guys ever had that experience where you'll spontaneously start to cry and not understand what the hell? You're like, Jesus, I didn't even know this was going to happen. And wow, I wish it didn't, especially at work. It's like the worst. It is so painful. So we're going to do a quick activity. So the following sentence starters, right? We're going to read them and I'm going to say them and you're going to repeat after me, just to yourself. Hold on, I'm going to think the best way to do it. This is going to be like mantras or affirmations, right? Because this is how you're going to get them in your mind and in your body is through repetition. So even if we just do a couple of them, and if you can't do it out loud because you're somewhere where you can't, that's okay. But right now, just repeat after me. And I'll let you fill in the blank of what the boundary thing is. But just imagine who you're talking to. I have a simple request that. Now you. I wanted to bring to your attention that. How are you? Thank you for thinking of me. I'll have to check my calendar. My answer is non-negotiable. Please respect it. No thanks. I need to tell you that. No, that doesn't work for me. And how about you've asked and I've answered? So for you, were you able to do it? And how was it for you? Right? Did you repeat them? Was it hard? Was it uncomfortable? Did it feel kind of good? Felt good, a little uncomfortable, but tolerable, excellent, kind of awkward, easy, but no one's here, right? Liberating, scary. I felt like a bitch. Ooh, very telling, Deb. Yes, it felt strong, a little awkward. First one was hard. Yep. I like your inflection. Yes, thank you. And this is the tone thing that we're talking. Felt weird, but it will get better, right? It will get better. And you guys, obviously, I chose one super little part of boundary scripts, right? It's clearly not an exhaustive list. I have lists for everything, actual boundary scripts for every scenario in your life. So I had to just narrow it down, right? In Boundary Bootcamp, the course itself, I also give you a bonus, which is called the Hello Goodbye Speed Course, which is how to get out of any situation where you don't want to stop and talk to someone. So do you ever find yourself in a situation after church, if you go to church, if you're shopping and you see someone and you're literally like, oh my God, I need to get the hell out of here. So I did a whole mini course on this because so many of you said it was something that was painful, and you get this as well as the Boundary Bible, which this covers scripts for every situation. We're actually going to be publishing the Boundary Bible probably at the end of 24, but for now, the only place that you can get it is in Boundary Bootcamp, the course. So if that's interesting, go to terrycole.com/BB 2023. All right. The scripts, and also maybe why do you do scripts? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the scripts themselves. Like, why do we need them? Because we don't have the words without them most of the time, because it feels too threatening. And everything you try on, right, becomes more comfortable. The more now you can, even just doing that little exercise of saying it out loud, so many of you shared how that was for you, how that felt for you. You're getting that in your body, All right. What is tips for talking with people who talk so continually that you can't get a word in edgewise, said Donna. You're going to use your hand. There's something compulsive about that. So either have a real conversation with them about that, use your hand and really try to assert yourself. And then sometimes we have to have a conversation like, hey, Betty, I know usually when we talk on the phone, you tell me all of your news first, but I'm trying to be more assertive. And I wondered if today on our conversation, can I share my news with you first? Right? So part of it is, if we're trying not to, sorry, I got to plug up my computer. If we're trying not to sort of have a tough conversation, or we don't want to sort of point it out, we can bring it on ourselves and be like, I usually go second, but maybe now you can, what I mean? So that could be helpful. All right, you guys, we're moving it on into self-care, because this is something that we hear a lot of talk about, but I wonder if you really, the way that I think about it is probably different than a lot of people think about it. So let's just talk about it and how it's connected. So exercising your boundary rights, this is a radical act of self-care, because by doing so, you are protecting yourself from emotional harm, you're keeping your personal dignity intact, and strengthening the relationship you have with yourself and with others, right? So it's not just about my boundaries, it's all about me. It also protects your relationships, and now think about it for you. How do you think your life might change right now if your needs, your desires, your well-being commanded as much consideration to you as everyone else's in your life does? How would your life change? Can you imagine it? Your stuff really being the priority? Because I know with a lot of you, other people's needs, wants, desires, preferences, limits, deal breakers are your priority. I would find peace by putting myself first. Yeah. And that it's not selfish. It feels selfish, I know, Darla, but it's not. Because the truth is, we're exhausted. Right? We're exhausted, which makes us eventually bitter and bitchy all at the same time. because we're tired. And I can tell you personally that prioritizing self-care in small ways on a daily basis, like I was talking about at the top, right? Caring about your surroundings, having fresh flowers from your backyard, something that smells good, candles that are not toxic and that you love, if you like those things. This will positively impact every aspect of your existence in the world, literally, because self-care is not just about going to a spa, if you can even do that, or getting a mani-pedi. It's about giving yourself plenty of space emotionally, psychologically, and support. That means being able to say no to things when you need to rest, right? You have the right to prioritize your self-care without feeling selfish. It's one of your boundary boss bill of rights. It is so important. And I know that for many of you, this is challenging and almost feels impossible. We don't want to be demanding. We don't want for others to label us as being selfish or difficult. And we can get really good at hiding behind some version of, oh, you know me, it's all good, I'm easy breezy, even when it's not. Anybody? Are you the queen of it's all good or it's fine? Right? It's fine. Even when, right, yes, I know I'm not alone. The truth is, though, that when you don't share what lights you up, what you love, what works for you, and what doesn't, you're not only denying the people in your life the privilege of truly knowing you are, but you're also denying the world your unique and amazing self. I mean, you guys, do you get how important this is? That when we're not sharing the truth about who we are, because we're trying to be easy breezy, or because we're worried about being rejected. Like, your preferences are a vital part of what makes you, you. Right? There is a direct connection between sharing our truths, advocating for ourselves, and high self-esteem. They're directly linked with each other, because real self-love and healthy self-esteem are less of a feeling, right? It's not necessarily a feeling. It's more of a way of life, as evidenced in your behavior, your choices, and your boundaries. So you're not just going to get better self-esteem. It's the change in behavior that elevates this. This is a way of living, right? Make it your mission to understand why you are the way you are in the world, with compassion, without judgment. And it is so important, because how you treat yourself sets the bar for every other relationship in your life. You are telling people what is okay. If you don't rest when you're tired, if you're last on your own list, if your preferences don't matter, you will inevitably attract people, right? If you have that low opinion of yourself and treat yourself as such, you will find others who will agree with that self-opinion. You deserve so much more than that. So we're taking steps. You're doing the free training. This is amazing. You've got your workbook. You've got your meditation. This will all help. But of course, there's more, right? There's more that you can do in continuing your education around boundaries. So your healing comes from being strong enough and thinking enough about yourself to make the request, to set the limit, to ask for what you want. Every time you share your preference, even if the other person doesn't go along with what you want, your healing comes from the asking, right? It comes from asserting yourself, your true self. And you're the only one who can do that. You know, and listen, these are baby steps. We don't have to change everything overnight. The course is 8 weeks because it turns out to be 9 weeks, because we're doing baby steps, right? We can't change everything overnight. We're not going to. We're not going to change. We're not doing anything out in the world for a long time in the course. Like, the first 4 modules are all about going in. Deeper self-understanding, better self-care, better self-love. It's like we need all of that before we can even think about going out into the world, right? It's one step at a time, but it is the consistency with those steps that leads to lasting transformation, right? Every time you set a boundary, it's a win, right? This boosts your confidence, it boosts your self-worth, and it creates space for healthier, better relationships with more mutual respect. So we're moving into, but I mean, listen, you understand self-care. Yeah, sleep enough, hydrate, do all of those things. But the self-care that I care about is this. I want you to prioritize you, right? It's you developing the unwavering ability to know, honor, and protect yourself and your relationships. And really, your boundaries are a beautiful how-to guide on you. It's like a customized instruction manual that you create to clearly identify the permissible ways for other people to behave towards you and how you will behave towards yourself, right? So this is me inviting you to commit to pouring love, attention, and understanding into yourself. You're amazing, you guys. You're fascinating. Your story is unique. What you think, what you want, how you feel matters. And to attract more people in your life who feel that way about you and deeply respect you and value you, you've got to take responsibility for the relationship that you have with yourself, because it is the most important relationship you will ever have in your life. You know, when you fall madly and deeply in love with you, you begin to look in for your answers. You start to trust yourself and what you think and how you feel, which makes setting healthy boundaries so much easier. When you think you matter, it shows in your life, right? When you respect and care for yourself, others will begin to hold you in the same level of high regard. So I want to move into our Q&A quick. All right, so Sheila said, how to address response. This is the past, let's just move forward. Well, you can say, I want to move forward and I need to have this conversation in order to move forward. So I can't just sweep it under the rug. I clearly have something that is still important that I need to say. I need to have an interaction about this. All right. Michelle said, do you talk about boundaries in a corporate setting or where the other person is possibly on the autistic spectrum? Yeah, I mean, in the course itself, we deal with boundaries in all settings and take into consideration neurodivergent, there's going to be all different types of people that we interact with. And if someone is neurodivergent, it can be difficult for them to see the signs, like the social signs. So we talk a little bit about that, but we cover extensively the corporate scene, which is really just your work, life, and boundaries. How to do it better. How do we handle it if there's a power differential? Because that's really what's important about boundaries, is the power differential. In the boundary bootcamp itself, I teach you about your boundary blueprint, right? Which this is personal to you. Raise your awareness about your limiting beliefs, boundary blocks, repeating realities, I call it, where you keep finding yourself in a similar relationship over and over. Have you ever had that, you guys, where you have like a terrible boss and then the next boss is also a terrible boss in the same way? Or you have a best friend who betrays you, and then you have another best friend who betrays you, or you have a partner who's emotionally unavailable and then another partner who's emotionally unavailable. This is called repeating relationship realities. And in the course itself, I give you the steps to setting proactive boundaries, which helps you customize your scripts for any situation. But being proactive is really dialing into what is needed, who am I dealing with? Because we have to take that into consideration, because not all boundary requests are created equally, right? We also work on your nervous system to help you to go from reactive to proactive. So there's a lot of, we do some energy work and lots of physical stuff in the course as well, because this ties into how well, right? Being boundary setting, we really need to have some emotional self-control, right? We need to be able to self-regulate our emotions. So go to terrycole.com/BB 2023 if you're interested in taking the course. We're super excited. We start on the 24th. All right, Steffi said, how do influences from previous generations affect our boundaries, boundary setting, or the things we keep tolerating? Oh, listen, generational trauma is real. And as Freud would say, repetition compulsion is also real, meaning that a lot of times we repeat. Well, there's a famous saying, we repeat what we do not repair. That's true. Christine Obao said that. But family history, that's why it's important to understand what's in your downloaded boundary blueprint, because we identify all of those things. So if you came from a culture that was repressed or had family trauma, exactly, Jenny, that we take that into consideration and if you're from a marginalized group, we take that into consideration because all of those facts impact how well or how much difficulty you have in setting boundaries. All right, Ariel said, good question. What is the difference between deal breaker and an ultimatum? Well, I think we did this. First of all, a deal breaker can be an ultimatum, but an ultimatum really speaks more to the way that it's done. A deal breaker, the other person has a choice. It's only an ultimatum because ultimately, if the person cannot agree with your deal breaker or keep their word or whatever the thing is, and it's a deal breaker for you, ultimately the relationship is going to end. But I don't see it. What we're really talking about is consequences, Ariel. That the example I gave you of the couple that were both in recovery and one relapsed, she gave him time. She was trying to help him get back on the horse, So yes. Anyway, I think you got it. All right. In your boot camp, boundary boot camp, will we be practicing conversations to help with verbal practice that is safe? Yes. And there's also a lot of doing stuff in the mirror or a trusted friend. Because that actually, again, it's a way that the same theory that we did today of getting it into your body, the more you do it, the easier it gets, the easier it is, So yes, we will be doing that. Someone else asked if I can't be there live for all the calls. Don't worry about being there live for all the calls for the course. Everything is recorded, of course, uploaded to the portal within 24 hours, usually sooner. So we have a lot of people from all over the world who can never make the time. I have a lot of people in Australia that it never works for them. Yes, and we have a payment plan as well. You can start for as little as $89. So we have a multi-pay plan starting at $89. And then we have a full pay, which is $997. That's US dollars. You can go to terrycole.com, BB 2023. Tracy just dropped it for us, or Joyce did, or somebody did. Thank you, Joyce did. And the information that you want is all there. I would love to see you guys. And I'll continue answering your questions. This was informative. Thank you. You're welcome, Monique. So B had a question. How do you focus on the positives, the growth that is happening, and not be derailed by the pain and the tears? Well, part of it is it's much easier to do this, honestly, in a group, being with people who are all in the same place as you, understanding you're not alone in the pain and the tears, and that this is part of the process. We meet once a week. And what day of the week are we meeting? Someone from my team will have to tell you because I do not know. It's usually Wednesdays or Thursdays. Yeah, Rona said, thanks. It really helps to have the scripts, to speak the words out loud. It really does. It really makes a difference. What if I'm away on vacation for part of the course? Is it recorded? Will it be less effective if I see a recording rather than interacting? Actually, no, truthfully, it is not less effective. The community is there 24/7. So no matter when you're sharing something in the community, there's always someone who's there, because we have people from 120 countries. I think last time it was like crazy. You can submit your questions in advance as well. So your questions will still be considered for the live Q&As that we do once a week. I've answered all the questions on the call so that just to watch it and you'll see it. Everyone's questions got answered. I mean, this is what we did. And what I generally do, right? The last time I did the course, we just answered all the questions, which was amazing. So I don't think it matters, honestly. Hold on, help please with a friend who keeps talking on the phone when I say I need to go. I think you just got to hang up, Susan. I know that's hard to say, but I think that if they can't listen to you enough, you're subtly hinting. I think you just have to say, oh, hey, Betty, actually, I'm going to jump. I will talk to you later. Have a great night, and hang up. Like, I know that's because someone like that could keep you on the phone for days, you know? Tara said, your work is amazing. May you be blessed tenfold in your life as you help so many people across the globe. Oh, thanks, Tara. What days of the week are we on? Meaning for what day of the week is the meeting? Someone answer that, please, because I don't know. Joyce will get the answer for that. Moving down. I want to attend the online boot camp, but I have scheduling issues for the first 2 weeks. How to resolve this issue is I really want to attend. You can just attend, Shell. It's okay. You don't have to be there live. Don't worry about it. Everything is there for you 24/7. And we also do everything. We transcribe everything so that maybe you want to read it. We rip the audio from everything because maybe you just want to listen to it. Like, trust me when I tell you, we have it locked down how to deliver the best user experience. Ask anyone who has taken any one of my courses. We also have a coach, Coach Sarah, who's amazing, who is in the community all the time. So you're super well taken care of. You're not going to be missing anything if you can't be on the calls live. We have lots and lots of people who simply can't because of their schedules, and they've had massive transformation. No one has ever wanted their money back. Like, everyone is like, yes. And some people who are a little bit more shy actually prefer the recording. They can stop, they can listen on their own. They know that their question is going to get answered. So my feeling is you're fine either way. Go to terrycole.com/BB 2023. Yeah. Darlene said, as an alumni, Boundary Bootcamp was life-changing. Terry and Team C over-deliver. We do. We do. It's a fact. We don't know how. That's the only place my boundaries are still disordered. I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Bonuses are insane. Everything, this course, we have changed. You guys, every year that I have given it, we have changed it from the feedback for the people who took the course. So this isn't a course I made in 2015. This is a course I made in 2015 and changed every single year. So we have it locked down. It is so friggin' good. And everything that I learn, and as I evolve, I add back to this course because it is my signature course. And I love it so much. And I love teaching it so much. And you always have, that's right. And you always have forever access to the BB sessions. Yes, you do. So, you know, some people will give you access for a year. You have access for life to this stuff. And we have alumni who come back through because they want to actually do it again live. And we have an alumni price for that, which is less expensive, obviously. But people absolutely love it. And it's amazing. So you guys, listen, if you like this speed, if you like this vibe, if you like the way that I teach, if you like what I say and the way that I say it, if you like this kind of community, you'll love the course. So if you're thinking about it, now is the time. Because I only do it once a year. And who knows next year what I'm going to be doing. I'm finishing my second book. It's like traveling now that it's opened up. I don't know. I can never promise I'm going to be teaching it live the next year. I don't know. I'm just thrilled to death that I'm teaching it live this year. So if you're thinking you want to do it, you can do a payment plan for $89, or you can do the full pay, which has other bonuses that come along with it and an additional Q&A with me. That is the $997. Which is pay in full one-time payment option. And all of this information is at terrycole.com/BB 2023. Thank you for the 3 days. It was so helpful. Blessings to you and all that. Thank you. Finally made it. Woohoo! Well, we're not done. I'm still answering a few more questions, but yay. And you guys, I'm also going to go live this weekend, and I'm going to go live today at 5, again, on Instagram. So if you have not known, we have been going live each day on Instagram because there's still a bunch of questions right here that I could still be answering. I'm going to hit one more Hold on. Oh, and maybe two more. I don't know. Julie said, I'm a Christian. I've been taught my entire life to be selfless. Mind you, I was taught this by my parents, not necessarily by the church. However, I struggle with knowing how to determine if my boundaries are being self-assertive without being selfish. I'd rather dishonor myself than dishonor God. However, I'm pretty sure that my people-pleasing and self-sabotaging is not honoring either. Also, I truly don't believe God expects us to dishonor ourselves. Agreed. Can you offer any insight how to bring more clarity? I think you have to think about it from the sort of the point of view of a loving God, right? At least that's how I would do it. A loving divine entity, whatever it is that you believe, that you taking care of yourself is loving. You are a child of God. You being healthy, you being happy is loving. I believe that that's righteous. Like, that's my 2 cents. So I don't think we need to, or that any divine entity would want us to be, as you said, Jewel, throwing ourselves under the bus for whom, right? You can still be a caring, loving person, but you don't need to overgive, right? It does not make you selfish to be healthy. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Michelle said, do you talk about boundaries? Oh, hold on. We already did that. All right. Emotional boundaries with adult children who sided with their rich dad against me. How to deal with this? I was a single mom for 15 years until he bought them. Well, that is super unfortunate and incredibly sad. And I think that, I don't know how much contact you have with them, but if the relationship is still valuable to you, then you still have to mother. And it's sad that, the pressure from the father or whatever it is got them to do what they did. But if you still have a relationship with them, you're still their mother, So my feeling is try to focus on what's good about it. Try not to put them in the middle of whatever is with you and your ex, because your kids are forever, right? That guy, he's going to be forever in your life because you have kids with him. But your active relationship with your children is forever, But that's hard to deal with. I'm sorry you're going through that. Ending, getting together, lovingly setting that boundary. How do you include the love when you've been hurt so much? The love seems to be no longer there. I don't know what that question is, so I'm not going to answer it. Corinne, if you want to restate it, I don't know what that means. Ending, getting together, lovingly setting that boundary. So ending, getting together, like you don't want to be friends with them anymore? Is that what you're saying? Tell me. Linda said, this is so wonderful. I purchased 3 of your Boundary Boss books, myself, my niece, and my best friend. We're all transforming. Thank you. Linda, why don't you guys all take the course? It's this on steroids, dude. terrycole.com/BB 2023. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to hit the rest of these on today, 5 o'clock on Instagram Live. So please join me then. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If the course sounds good, I'm super excited. It starts next week. You're on a roll. Go to terrycole.com/BB 2023. And I will see you guys today live at 5 on Instagram. Woohoo! Bring your questions. I will see you later.